Welcome back, everybody, to Wager Talk TV. I'm Ross the Boss Benjamin of WagerTalk.com, and welcome to our new show. It's a football betting show. We'll be doing once a week college football and the NFL, and I am joined by my co-host here. And the name of the show, by the way, Winner's Circle, and there's a lot of you out there who remember when we did this show a couple of years back, very successful. We had a lot of good feedback from you guys, and hopefully that carries over to Wager Talk TV. Let me introduce my guest, one of my co-hosts, Mr. Jesse Schule. He's with WagerTalk.com and also Picks and Parlays. And then my other co-host and producer, he's going to be our producer, guys. He does it all, Mr. Sean Higgs of Picks and Parlays.com. And folks, if you haven't followed Sean at Picks and Parlays, we're going to put that promo up for you there, Sean. Your promo for Picks and Parlays right off the bat here. And he's just been a fabulous handicapper and dominating over at picksandparlays.com. There you see it. College football over the last 3 years for him, 473 and 372. Not bad. Not bad. I think what the units earned is more impressive. And then you also see this season in Major League Baseball, he's tearing it up, folks. 87.2 units in net profit. And a combined 143.88 units in net profit this year. That's absolutely fabulous. So I'd like to say one of the best handicappers in the world nobody's heard of is Sean Higgs. And we're going to make sure he's heard of going forward. So let me start with you, Jesse. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, Ross. I don't think you could say that I'm one of the best handicappers that nobody's heard of, because when I give out my takes on early college football, I do get a bit of attention. A lot of it's negative, in fact, but I like that.
Well, what Jesse's talking about is he voices his opinion on certain teams in college football, and he gets the hair to go up in that fan base he's talking about. So last year we were talking, what was the game? What was it? The one
Utah
we were talking
and Florida
about 2 years
in week 0.
Yeah, the Florida fans came after us. We all liked Utah. That was a couple years ago. And then that this year, Jesse went against Colorado in their season opener on one of his free pick solo videos. So he got the gander of a lot of Colorado fans. And I don't know, sometimes I think a lot of Deion fans. There's people out there that just love Deion and didn't care less about Colorado before that, but they do now. Anyway, Sean, how are you, my man?
Go ahead, Jesse. Jesse was going to say something.
I was just going to say, one of the critiques that I had in the comment section in my Colorado video, a guy said, a $5 razor would go a long way, buddy, referring to a little bit of facial hair growth, right? And I thought to myself, that's pretty rich coming from a Colorado fan. Have you seen Deion lately? Because Deion's sporting like a
he looks like the Black ZZ Top, one of the Black ZZ Top members. Yeah. Anyway, I like Deion though, but again, I think that they were overhyped from that good start they had a couple years ago, and he needs to turn it around, because if he wasn't Deion Sanders, I think a lot more people would be talking about him being on the hot seat right now. But because Colorado's attendance has gone up so good over the last 2 years, Sean, it's sort of a job saver in that regard.
Listen, the guy could get people in the seats. He needs coaches around him, and he's got to develop some more players. I mean, just having your son on one guy you're not going to win long-term with that. They eventually have to leave.
So Sean is a volume handicapper as opposed to me and Jesse. So you need to be more conscious of your money management with him. He does extremely well. Don't get me wrong, folks. But I always warn people of this, and I don't think Sean will have a problem with me saying this, is that you want to be able to sustain over the course of the year. And he's shown year after year after year that he makes a profit, and a good profit. And you have to grind it out with him. But the last thing you want to do is be betting per unit what you're betting per unit with me and Jesse. Not because his picks aren't good, because if you have one bad day, okay, it could bury you, and then you don't reap the benefits of the rest of the year he puts together for you. So, Sean, you don't have an issue with that, correct?
No. I mean, listen, unless you're, Jeff Bezos and you got plenty of, you want to go your regular play across the board on, 10 games on NFL Sunday. Listen, people got different bankrolls, right, Ross? So
yeah,
the majority of people, though, I'll go lower than other people on their unit wise, but I still it's a sizable chunk for however you want to look at things. But yeah, it is streaky. You think you're never. You don't think, what is it? It's not never as bad as it is, and never as good as. It's just your bad day for me is maybe 2 and 4, right, or something. Yeah. And you don't want a lot of those in a row. They add up. But again, if you're flat playing things, you're safe with me. Because I'm not gonna, even after a bad day, and again, a bad day is going to be a 2 and 4 day, 2 and 5, which, folks, if that's going to crush you, if you're unloading your bankroll every day, I don't feel bad for you. You shouldn't be bad. So,
Well, how many picks you got up for the NFL week 1?
I have 9 NFL week 1s.
Okay, that's what I'm alluding to.
And I got 13 between week 0 and week 1 college football.
Yeah, and that's what I'm alluding to. Go ahead,
in contrast to that, for those who want to bet on 10 games in a day, don't come see me. I'm assuming you probably shouldn't see Ross either. No. You should be going to Sean, because as much as you need to warn people if they don't want the volume, you got to warn people that want the volume to go to Sean and not us.
And use proper money management. So
and that's the key. You see, like the little unit thing came up, and since 2023, I was number 1 on the Picks and Parlays channel. But that was based on just single units, right? So if that was transformed to how we do things now, those 60 units and 56% over, what is that, 800 games would have been 200 units or more.
Astronomically more. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how we do things at Picks and Parlays and wagertalk.com, we rate our picks for the most part 2 units through 5 units. We only get 6 5-unit plays a month, so people don't load everything up as a 5-unit play, and the rest are 2, 3, and 4. And you could base the money earned on $100 a unit, $200 a unit, whatever you're comfortable in doing. Having said all that, we're going to be covering 4 college football games that go on Saturday, August 29th, week 0. Man, I'm excited. We're going to be looking at TCU in North Carolina, a game that goes in Dublin, Ireland. And we're also going to be looking at NC State at Virginia, Hawaii at Stanford, and then the nightcap on Saturday, which will be Memphis at UNLV. So let's start with the TCU and North Carolina game. Jesse, TCU opened as a 7-point favorite. The total opener was 50.5. They're now down to 7.5 and 47.5. What's your take on this game?
Ross, I find it amazing that they can still get teams to sign up to play in Ireland, because when you look at the history of this Ireland game, teams like Florida State and Nebraska and what's happened to those teams post the Ireland game. And then I look at North Carolina, and man, do they look like it fits that mold of Nebraska and Florida State. Just this season could get completely derailed. And I'm very worried about Bill Belichick and this program. Steve Belichick's got some health problems. He's not going to be in Ireland. And you got Michael Lombardi is facing a scandal. And you've got Bobby Petrino, who's done some great things in college football, but he doesn't come without controversy either. This program appears to be in disarray. Billy Edwards Jr. is the quarterback. Now, this guy's bounced around the Power 4 for the last 3-4 years, hasn't really done much. In contrast to that, you look at TCU. I think they've got a pretty solid program, and they bring in a new quarterback from Harvard. And I know a lot of people will roll their eyes and say, oh, guy from Harvard, he can't be successful. Don't kid yourself, folks. The kid from Harvard, Jaden Craig, I think he's going to be very good this season. When you're looking at new quarterbacks, you got to look at the system they're coming into, the head coach, and the history they've had developing quarterback talent. And Sonny Dykes has that history on his side. This one actually was available at 6.5 a month ago. I mean, these lines come out well in advance. I did my video for this game a month ago, and I said, grab that 6.5 while you can. I still think it's TCU or nothing for me. I just think North Carolina's got too many question marks heading into the season.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Craig, again, Jesse makes a good point. He comes from Harvard. He threw for over 5,200 yards the last 2 years. Good size, 6'3", 230. and also has a bit of mobility as well. I think he's rushed for 11 touchdowns in his 3-year career at Harvard. But again, he's stepping up in class here. And is that going to be a big factor here? I'm not crazy about Billy Edwards Jr. personally. And Bobby Petrino has shown no matter where he's gone as an offensive coordinator, it's raised the level of their statistics from one year to the next, meaning the year before he took over compared to when he comes on board. But I don't know, Sean, are they giving Bobby Petrino too much for turning around, too much credit, and already thinking he's going to turn this offense around miraculously? Because last year they were horrible offensively.
Well, he's done good things, and we know that offensively. But there's, like Jesse said, I mean, let's just hit all the off-field problems that, I mean, he's had his own. But between the coach's son and his best friend, what's going on here? You know, you've got a bottom-tier production team coming back with starters returning. You were 4-8 last year anyway. You weren't good. You got destroyed by these guys by 30 points at home or whatever. It was straight out the door.
Yeah.
48-40. I mean, come on. They're definitely not improved. They're going in the opposite direction as TCU. And listen, TCU, you have a new OC, you got a new quarterback. I see those kind of things. They're good. They're solid in other windows. And I agree with Jesse's take. Like TCU, it's really the only way you can look at it here. But let's be honest, this will probably be 8 or more by game time, unless the sharps think, oh, we're going to come in and overthink things and take a 7.5 here, like you're getting a bonus hook. I'm with Jesse. It's TCU, but how about let's look at the under here, 47.5. I got new coordinators on both sides of the ball. One team's I mean, how good is NC going to be this year? I have them at the bottom of the I know Stanford's supposed to be the bottom tier at ACC. North Carolina is not a good team. 47.5 points, foreign country. This is not a great home
quarterback, Sean. But yeah, I agree with you in your assessment on NC State. I don't see them finishing better than 12th in the ACC in that 17-team league. But I know Jesse has a different feel on that. Jesse, you sort of like NC State going into this game, from what I recall, or am I incorrect?
I like NC State against Virginia, but as far as the other North Carolina,
North Carolina, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was NC State you liked. Yeah.
Their season win total sits at 4.5. And when you look at their schedule, I think that they can really only be guaranteed to be favored in 2 games, maybe 3. I don't see how they get to the 4.5 myself. In fact, I just think it's such a recipe for a dumpster fire for this particular team to be starting in Ireland. So I do not like them, but I am looking forward to talking about the Wolfpack because I'm a little higher on them.
I have a 4% top play on that game, and we are going to be talking that game. Why don't we get right into it? We're looking at NC State at Virginia on Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Virginia goes 11-3 last year, and one of their 3 losses came against North Carolina State. Now, you got an 11-team win from a year ago, playing with revenge in their season opener at home, and a strong offensive line. Question marks at quarterback, though, right, Jesse?
I don't like Bo Prabula. I mean, Bo Prabula to me looks like Jackson Arnold all over again. My first introduction to Bo Prabula is, Penn State's backup quarterback is transferring in the middle of the playoffs. I don't know if you guys remember that. He transferred off of a playoff team, which seems to pale in comparison now to Lane Kiffin, the coach, transferring.
Don't give me going on that topic.
But yeah, he's just not that effective as a passer. Obviously, he's a weapon in the running game as well, and that's great. But is that great when you got to cover a spread? And my opinion of Virginia is, as you alluded to, Ross, they won 11 games last year. They kind of came out of nowhere to win 11 games. I think 3 of their wins came in overtime. Another win came in a very close game. They got lucky a few times, and thankfully they did, because I did have them as a money line underdog plus 230 at home against Florida State. That was one of my big wins last year. So I was a big fan of Virginia last year as a dog. as a favorite against a team with an experienced quarterback and a very experienced head coach. I believe Dave Doran has had 8 wins in 4 of the last 5 or 3 of the last 4 seasons. So, I mean, to me, NC State's a proven commodity. Virginia, I think, comes in overvalued based on the 11 wins last year. I just don't see how 11 wins last year aren't going to influence the bookmakers' take on Virginia, and I'm not gonna bet. As far as I'm concerned, those 11 wins last year, they don't count against this year's standings, in my opinion. So,
yeah, and they also brought in. Excuse me, Jesse. They also brought in Eli Holstein, the former starter at Pitt, who lost his job last year. So, a couple of iffy quarterback transfers, and like you like to say, Jesse, if you have 2 quarterbacks, do you really have any?
Certainly is the case. And like I say, those 11 wins don't count against this year's standings. Virginia is going to have to prove themselves again before I start laying big numbers with Virginia.
Sean, the revenge factor for a team that won 11 games last year, 1 of their 3 losses coming against NC State. How much emphasis do you put on that? How much importance do you put on that when you go through your handicapping process in a game matchup like this?
Well, if they had their 3,000-yard passer and 1,000-something yard running back from last year's team, with guys with a little bitter taste in their mouth saying we got to get these guys, it would be one thing. But they're not here. As you said, we got a quarterback tandem out of Pittsburgh, and then you got the old Penn State, Missouri guy. I mean, okay, I'm not impressed. You're transferring for a reason. These guys aren't guys looking for huge paydays, staying as like 5th, 6th year guys because they're going to be drafted in the first round. Are we impressed with this Virginia team at all? This line was 5.5 last night. It's come down overnight a whole point, and it makes sense. Dave Doran, 14 years at the school, he knows what he's doing over there. I'm not
a Dave Doran guy, by the way, but anyway, go ahead, Sean.
I mean, he is what he is. He's playing in the ACC with your Clemsons and, at the time, Florida State and Miami's. What is the ceiling for NC State? They're happy with 8 wins and going to
that's what I'm saying. Motor City Bowl. To me, he's the master of mediocrity as a head coach.
But you know what? We're getting points here.
Never real bad.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with mediocrity when you're getting 4.5 points, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what? And
I get it, but I'm talking about Dave Doran in particular. In terms,
I got the same quarterback, Ross. You're giving me a cohesive unit with some steady repetitions with each other and all that kind of nonsense, which in game 1 I think is important, as opposed to bringing in a new scheme and quarterback and stuff like that, and maybe yin-yanging a guy out after a couple series to give another guy a look because things are going bad or to mix things up.
I got a question for you, Sean. Given that you got the new quarterback and the new team and the new system, and you got the continuity for NC State with the 3rd-year quarterback coming back, do you look at the first half as opposed to the full game?
For NC State to take the first half there?
Yeah, just with the thought that the new quarterback and the new system for Virginia.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that fit right into Ross's playbook because he doesn't like to coach. He's Mr. Mediocrity. So maybe he jumps out to a nice 13-3 lead, and they piss it away and they lose. 23 to 17.
Dave Doran is a good college football coach, but here's the other thing, guys. Virginia's got a ton of NIL money right now. They have tremendous support, and NC State might have the lowest NIL budget out of all the Power 5 teams in college football. So, I mean, does that mean a lot going into this matchup? No, but going forward, just something to keep an eye on. As to the futures of both of these programs, we know that NIL money means a lot these days. And who knows? Maybe it'll bring back Joe Montana to play quarterback for Virginia, because every other NFL quarterback or NFL player that didn't make a roster or whatever, not to put Joe Montana in those words, wants to come back. College football is a mess with this transfer rule.
They nipped that in the bud, though, Ross. I think there was something the school said you can't, if you were drafted and played the NFL, you can't come back to school.
The Big Ten did. I thought did
college football this morning.
They did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad because, you can't have it both ways. You can't try out the NFL, get cut, and want to come back to college. It's just
I'm a lot less offended by NFL players coming back to college than I am about Lane Kiffin leaving a team in the middle of the playoffs.
I know you're trying to get my goat. Okay. But
when you compare the two,
Kiffin, let me tell you folks out there and LSU fans, it's nothing personal against you. Lane Kiffin is a scumbag, okay? He goes for the dollars. He'll steal players behind coaches' back.
Steal wives, steal girlfriends from the players.
He leaves a team that's getting ready for the college football playoffs last year to sign a big, lucrative contract. Who does that? I mean, I get at the end of the day.
He might have won. They might have won last year if he stayed. They might have won.
Yeah,
you know who his daughter's boyfriend is, right?
Interim head coach, so we'll see how he does this year. But LSU, by the way. Watch out for LSU, this quarterback they got from Arizona State, Sam Leavitt. I really love this kid. I know I talked about it last year with you, Jesse, when I liked Arizona State so much. Unfortunately, got hurt halfway through the year. But this is the same quarterback that led Arizona State to the college football playoffs 2 years ago, and they almost knocked off Texas in the first round. So keep an eye on that. That same Arizona State team had Cam Scatterbo, by the way, as well.
I got a little bit about that injury though, Ross, because I was a little bit concerned about him coming off that injury. So I did a little bit of research on what it looks like healing from a Lisfranc foot fracture. And what I came up with is you only get back to 100%, 70 to 80% of the time. And there's some symptoms like loss of mobility, explosiveness, flexibility, and all that sounded like
that's huge because he's a mobile quarterback. Yeah.
Also, there's a potential for like compensatory injuries. You lose flexibility where you're injured. Yeah. I mean, so it doesn't sound very good from that perspective. I mentioned that in one of my videos, and a guy in the comment section came in and said, I had that injury, and I'm way out on Sam Leavitt, knowing what I know about that injury. And I thought that was interesting perspective. I thank the guy for the comment, but I am a little bit concerned about Leavitt coming off that injury.
All right, let's get to our next game we're going to cover. It's the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. They'll be traveling to Palo Alto, California to take on a Stanford Cardinal. And this is an interesting one from a couple aspects. You got a Hawaii team that knocked off Stanford in their season opener last year at home. Stanford going through a big transition period, a new head coach again. The head coach they hired, Coach Pritchard, was the backup quarterback to Andrew Luck, who is now the AD at Stanford, but he was the backup quarterback to Luck when he was at Stanford. So I'm not sure how in depth Luck really looked for a head coach here, other than the fact that he's an alumni and he played in a winning era in Stanford football. But a lot of unknowns here going into this one. I do love my Hawaii's sophomore quarterback now. And don't ask me to pronounce his name because everybody makes fun of the way I pronounce names sometime. And, I'll tell you, like I told you last week, 2 years ago, I can care less about players' names. I just want to get picks right. But in any event, Jesse, what's your take on this one?
Oh, man. Mika Alejado, I'm a big fan as well. But if you can't say Mika Alejado, good luck with Sago Palutele for California. And I can't even say his first. He's got two first names. That's just his last name. He's got two first names on top of that. It makes it very challenging. But back to Hawaii, you got to look at what Timmy Chang has done at this program. When he took the job, I was covering his, the transition. He's the new coach. And what I said was, nobody wants this job. They didn't hire him because he's the right man they hired him because he's the only one that would take the job. At the time, this program was just a complete dumpster fire. Their stadium was condemned. They were playing in like a high school facility.
They still aren't they? I don't think that they redone the stadium yet.
Yeah, no, they still have issues. And I mean, they don't have NIL money. There's a lot of things working against Timmy Chang for him to get this program to this point. And you guys might remember his first game, they got the doors blown off by Vanderbilt. They lost by 50 plus or something like that. But he's come a long way, get them to 9 wins. The way he's been able to bring players in, develop talent, put this team together. Yeah, they're going to lose a lot of guys, and there's a lot of question marks about the personnel. But for me, it's difficult for us to handicap personnel. There's a lot of players incoming, moving. We can't possibly know all these guys, where they played high school. We have to put our trust in handicapping coaches and coaching staffs. And what I've seen from Timmy Chang and his staff is it inspires confidence. And we know they got the better quarterback. They got a receiver coming back, one of the top receivers from last year. I know Hawaii doesn't normally play that well on the road, and I know a lot of people are going to point to last year. Stanford dominated the line of scrimmage, probably should have won the game. Hawaii got a kick late, but Alejado was injured early in that game. If he was full strength the entire game, I think it might have been a different story. At the end of the day, this one's got to be Hawaii or nothing for me. Just giving me points with the team with the better quarterback, better coach, and more stability in that aspect of the coach and quarterback. And Tavita Pritchard, this will be his first game. So with a new quarterback, Davis Warren, who doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. So, whether that works out or not, will it actually work out in week 0? That's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Power 5 conference team deserves to be a favorite in this game, a favorite of this size anyway in this game. Not huge, but they're they were up to, I think 5.5, if I'm not mistaken. Sean, you could clarify that because you got down early on this game. But I put out a free pick solo video on this game. I agree with Jesse. I took Hawaii plus the points, but they're not part of my premium pick package. So take that for what it's worth. You can find that at Wager Talk TV. My direct link for Wager Talk TV is wt.buzz/Ross TV. You can find all my videos there on archive as well. So, Sean, the man who believes the earth is flat, and will Stanford be flat in this game?
The moon landing, staged, Jesse, right? Tell him. Ross doesn't – dinosaurs are fake. What else can we go on? The comment section is really going to take off at this. Go ahead, Jess.
The earth is flat is where we draw the line, Ross. Everything else is on the table.
If I didn't know him better, I would think he's smoking a fine grade of marijuana on a regular basis, but that's not the case. Anyway, Sean, getting back to a serious note, what's your take on this matchup between a Stanford team that, by the way, 8-28 the last 3 seasons against FBS teams? They got 3 wins against FCS teams. I don't count that. When I look at a game and I'm handicapping it, I'm looking at a program that has had trouble winning games, Sean. And now here they are as a favorite. And I got a feeling you're going to disagree with me and Jesse on this one. So with all respect, let's hear you.
Let's go. Yeah. So, you're talking about the no money for Virginia. Stanford's going to get a little bit of money here from the tech bros out here. They might not have played football. A lot of NFL return alum coming in, giving a lot of cash. But the tech guys, they want to see their school do well. I got Stanford as a team on a rise. Maybe not this season, but you're going to inject some cash in there and change things around. I think they're on the right track to get back to their glory days back. I guess we're talking 10, 15 years ago now, back in those days. But, yeah, I got down to this at 3.5. And again, Jesse, I was with you. I had Hawaii last year on the island, and they were dominated on both sides of the ball by Stanford. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. The offensive, defensive line are the different makers for Stanford over Hawaii for me. They're going to run the ball. It's 1986. Not that the running back's CMC, but that's what they're going to do, right? The quarterback's questionable. We're going to play ball control, all that good stuff. And let's be honest with your guy Chang here. The guy's 4-18 on the road. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And that's Hawaii at home is one thing. They come out here. It's like Waterworld. Dry land's not a myth. Like they just finally found civilization. They're like, look at this. There's mountains out here, they can't play in the States. 4-18s. No, I'm not back. I don't care. 3, 4, 5 points.
And there you have it, Sean Higgs handicapping style right there in a nutshell. So.
I do want to point out, though, as far as the landscape for the season, Hawaii gets the top teams in the conference, all home games. They host North Dakota State, UNLV, and New Mexico, I believe. So even if they can't win on the road, they still got a shot at winning the Mountain West.
But let's look at this real fast here. So the Stanford line went from 3 up to 5, 5.5, and now it's come back down to the 4, 4.5 range. Next week's game against UNLV was a 1-point favorite. That's already up to like a 3.5, 4 too. So what is the thought process there on Hawaii then, of what people think of Hawaii? If in their first 2 games, the lines have moved 3 points against them.
Yeah, and UNLV is one of the favorites to win the Mountain West. Jesse likes Hawaii to win the Mountain West. So interesting point, Sean.
Right, I mean, because they do have the quarterback. Their quarterback was good last year, right? I know the wide receiver was hurt. He may or may not be back for week 1. But the fact that the line has moved 2-3 points in consecutive weeks, they haven't even played a game, and they have the established quarterback. UNLV is going to run out the two-headed monster here on Saturday night.
Well,
right?
again, we're looking at the early money, and I'm a true believer in public perception. And I think anytime you see a Power 5 team as a single-digit favorite against a group of 5, barring a Boise State or somebody who's had a lot of success over the last couple of years, it raises eyebrows. And I think a lot of people might have jumped on Stanford thinking they're getting a steal because, with all due respect, Sean, yeah, they might be better in the interior lines because most Power 5 schools are when it matchups against a group of 5 opponents, but not always. And secondly, you got to look at the transition. I think they have 3 returning starters from a year ago, which, again, I don't put as much stock in that anymore because of the transfer portal, and a new coaching staff. And like Jesse said, a quarterback.
But here's the thing, though. The average bettor is not betting Stanford a week and a half ago -3.5.
Yeah.
Now, can we contribute? We can contribute to maybe, all right, a sharper guy is going to come in and bet the game, and maybe it'll move it a little bit. Right, and so you got a couple people moving early on it. It could very well be let's get this to 5, 5.5. I'm going to buy back on Hawaii here 5.5, but I got Stanford at 3, so I got a medal.
Yeah. A lot of these sharp guys, that's what they'll do. They'll take a game like this, and they deem it to be a close matchup, and they'll create their own middle. And that might be the case here. I don't know, but I like Hawaii in this game. It's not going to be a premium pick, but we'll see. Sean likes Stanford. Jesse likes Hawaii. I do as well. Speaking of UNLV, let's talk about them. They're going to be the nightcap on Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And they're going to be playing the Memphis Tigers. And talk about a big transition, Jesse. Southern Miss junior varsity team, or Southern Miss is their AAA team, I should say, because new coach Charles Huff, he brought over 11 different players that are on their 2-deep depth chart from Southern Miss from a season ago. So in last year's Southern Miss, by the way, they went 7-6. It's not like they tore it up in the Sun Belt. Charles Huff, also a former coach over at Marshall, had some success there. He's definitely a good head coach. But as the transition with all these new players now, look, playing at Southern Miss in the Sun Belt, is it a jump to go to the Mountain West Conference? I would have said last year it's a huge jump. I'm not so sure it's that big of a jump this year. What's your take, Jesse?
My take is going to be very in-depth, so you might have to cut me off because I got so much to say about this game. And Sean and I have been sparring on Twitter about this game because I put out my free pick video a couple weeks back. I took Memphis, and the reason for that is you alluded to Charles Huff. So in this day and age, everybody wants to be the next Curt Cignetti, right? There's a handful of coaches this year, new hires that have come from their old team, bringing in the quarterbacks and receivers and all these players from their old team. And everybody's saying, well, look what Curt Cignetti did. Can this guy do it? Well, there's only one guy that's already done it, and that's Charles Huff. He won a conference championship with Marshall. He took all those Marshall players to Southern Miss. You said they were 7-6, but they started 7-2. And right at that moment when they were 7-2 with one of those losses coming to an SEC team, I think that's the moment that everybody knew Charles Huff was moving on to greener pastures. And
I'm going to stop you for a second, okay? You're comparing Charles Huff to Cignetti. Are you serious? Signetti was at James
That's
Madison.
not
They
fair.
lost about 3 games in 2 years. He
That's
goes
not
to
fair.
Indiana, Power 5 conference, and wins a national championship, not a
I'm
just
not
conference
I'm
championship.
not comparing anybody to Signetti.
Okay, well, that's what it
My
sounded
opinion
like to
is
me. Anyway,
what,
go ahead.
let me clarify. All these fan bases of all these teams with new coaches are hoping that their guy is the next Signetti. I don't think there is a next Signetti. I don't think in our lifetimes we will never see.
Listen,
what
if it
Signetti
was the
did
next
happen again.
Signetti, he wouldn't be a coach at a group of 5 school. He'd be in a
Exactly.
Power 5. So go
I
ahead.
mean,
Anyway,
I'm in full agreement. But as far as poaching your players and bringing them to your next school and winning games, he's already done that. So this is his second go around. So he's already got a history of being successful doing that. We talk about NIL money. Well, Memphis has got plenty of NIL money, and Memphis has a pretty solid program. And as far as Ryan Silverfield going to Arkansas, I think Charles Huff could be an upgrade to Silverfield myself. Now, we talk about quarterbacks. Again, this is another team that's pulled a quarterback from the lower ranks, similar to Jaden Craig, maybe. What's his name again?
From West Florida. West Florida QB.
Marcus Stokes. So the thing
West Florida QB, Division II school, but he was very good at the Division II level.
And Stokes is competing with Aaron Nolan, who was the backup at South Carolina behind Lenoris Sellers. He was also committed to Ohio State prior to that. So, I mean, we're talking like a true blue chip quarterback prospect, and that's who he's going to beat out in this quarterback competition. So in my mind, I feel pretty comfortable saying Memphis has their next quarterback. UNLV doesn't have a quarterback because they've got 2 quarterbacks. As we already said, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. And those 2 quarterbacks, man, hold your nose. Jackson Arnold and Alex Orji. I mean, and Dan Mullen's an experienced guy who's been around the block. He's had a few, solid seasons at some solid teams, but none of those teams really won anything. And a lot of those teams, they scored a lot of points. They also gave up a lot of points. If you look at Mississippi State and Florida when he was there, yeah, his team scored a lot of points and gave up a lot of points. That's what I see with this UNLV team. You're giving me points, I got to take Memphis.
There you have it. Jesse likes Memphis. I disagree. I just think I think this Memphis team, to me, with all the transition and turnover and roster personnel and new head coach, and yeah, they brought over 11 players from Southern Miss, if not more, at least 11 on the 2 deep depth chart. Again, you're bringing Southern Miss players over and expecting to turn things around dramatically from a program that's won a lot. And you know what, Sean? UNLV, they've lost 11 games the last 3 years. That's it. And you know where 5 of those losses came? Against Boise State. And 3 of them came in the Mountain West Championship games. Yes. So what's your take, Sean?
Yeah, that's where they were last year with Dan Mullen. After he started with 2 quarterbacks in his game 2 in his first game of the season. How Memphis has 70 new guys on a roster. Yeah. 70. And again, and UNLV's not some powerhouse program, but that's a step up from Southern Miss or wherever you're getting guys to go to a Mountain West school that's been in the championship game the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I got an experienced defense against a guy from West Florida or a washout from South Carolina. Forget about it. He went to Ohio State first. We see guys, I mean, was at Georgia first before he ended up, somewhere else. I mean, so guys move around. I understand that. But you went to Ohio State, didn't even sniff the field. You went to South Carolina and couldn't start there. And we're supposed to get excited over you're coming to battle a West Florida quarterback? Come on.
Sean,
this is a UNLV route. No doubt route.
Let's be fair, though. You're calling Aaron Noland a washout, but he was behind Lenoris Sellers, who came into last season considered to be, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC.
Yeah. So how good did Lenoris Sellers do last year? He had an awful year.
He had an awful year. Sure.
Comparing the expectations they had for him, and he never got off the bench. So meaning that this guy that's the backup now who came from South Carolina. We'll see.
I mean, it's not like I think like Shane Rattler left and went to where, Rice or something. Like he was a guy who was supposed to be like a Heisman Trophy guy, and he went to like a smaller school, couldn't deliver. So I'm not, and that was like, I'm like, wow, look at this. I got a Heisman guy at a smaller school. You think he'd show some flashes of brilliance. Now you're expecting a guy who was a backup, couldn't even crack the field to come in, and because he was a 4 or 5 star recruits that come in here and finally break through.
Well, Jackson Arnold was
on the road
star as well. You know what I mean? And what's he done? He's lost his job at both Oklahoma and where did he start? Oklahoma, and then last year he was Auburn. Yeah. So he lost his starting job both times that he went to either school he was at as a 5-star recruit. So it's not an exact science, right, guys? So yeah, I'm going to take you on OV here. I just got the feeling, again, I would keep an eye on this Memphis team as we approach the midway point of the season, because now they'll start to get a little more chemistry and a little more fluidity. And I think they'll gel as the season goes on. I just agree with Sean, too much transition too early. It spells trouble for me. And by the way, the 5 losses out of the 11 the last 3 years coming to Boise State, and Boise State is now a member of the Pac-12 that only has 8 teams. I thought I would mention that, Sean, because guys, you like that kind of thing. Why are you calling the Pac-12? You got 8 teams. It used to be the Pac-8. Why don't I go back to the Pac-8 anyway?
Let's go Pac-8. I like it. I don't call the Big 10 the Big 19, right? We don't call it the Big 17 or whatever it is.
Hey, Sean, when you mentioned the Rice quarterback, the guy that went to Rice, I think you're talking about JT Daniels, by the way.
JT Daniels, maybe. I know Rattler went somewhere. He might have went.
Who was the guy who went to SMU, Jesse? A quarterback, and he was really good for a Power 5. I can't remember his name.
Shane Buechele.
It was a few years back.
Shane Buechele. He's in the NFL now.
Shane Buechele. Yeah. Was it Shane Buechele that went to SMU? He started at
Texas. He left Texas, right? He left Texas.
He was another one, a 5-star. Yeah. And he's looked quite impressive.
Yeah, Daniels, that's right. And even I think Slovis too is another 5-star guy with USC at Pitt.
USC,
he's all over the place,
right? And then I think he went to Pitt.
No? BYU. Ended up in BYU. He's in Arizona. He's at the Cardinals now.
He went from Southern California, Surf City, USA. Anything goes, LA to Mormon country in Utah. Maybe it'll be good for him. Change of scenery. That's a change of scenery, folks. Anyway, all right. So let's take a couple look at things here. Jesse's going to have a new show coming up as well. In addition to the Winner's Circle, him and Carmine Bianco are going to have a show.
That's
me. So, and Jesse, tell us a little about it.
Well, I just love to have contrarian picks, and apparently my man Carm has some big brass balls, and he wants to go head-to-head with me once a week. We're going to pick 3 NFL games. We're going to go head-to-head, argue it out, debate it, and see who comes out on top. I'm really looking forward to it, and we're offering a 2-for-1 regular season package for the NFL. $8.99. You can get us both. Carmine had a big year, almost 50 units of profit with college and pro football last year. Myself, I had another winning season, but it was particularly good in the playoffs, both with college and the pros, which is nothing new for me. You can see the numbers the last 2 years there. And I actually started out the NFL season winning my first 10 bets, swept the preseason, was perfect in week 1. So we'll be looking to do that again here in 2026.
All right, stay tuned. We're going to be giving you a free pick on Saturday's game, a game that we're going to commit to for you. None of this wishy-washy stuff where we just have opinions and we're pointing out the pros and cons of both teams. This time we're going to give you a definitive pick. And before we get to that real quickly, we're going to let Sean take the stage. And he's going to tell us what he's been doing over at Picks and Parlays, and as well as what he's got coming up.
Yeah, pretty good season. So we got the $4.99. You get all of my college football for just $4.99 and the remainder of Major League Baseball. I'm up 90 units in MLB. You see the college football #1 total money the last 3 years there at the Picks and Parlays channel. And if we add NFL to that, since 2022 NFL, I'm #4 total money one. So pretty good in the sports, Ross. Not too shabby, making a couple bucks. in college and NFL and the remainder of baseball.
Yeah. And you know what? Again, I mean this sincerely. I know we tease each other, but Sean is a terrific handicapper and very underrated. And I know Jesse feels the same way. So you can find Sean over at picksandparleys.com, picksandparleys.net, either link. And he's dominated over there at Picks and Parleys. So take advantage of some of his special offers, and we'll go from there. But Jesse, me and you are at wagertalk.com and picksandparleys.net. Tell the folks a little bit about what you got going on at Wager Talk and any of the specials you'd like to go over with the folks.
Well, I have the special with Carmine Bianco, buy one, get one free for the regular season. Right now, having another winning baseball season. I believe I'm number 2 in profit at Wager Talk since the beginning of 2025, hitting exactly 60% with all my baseball picks the last 2 seasons, this season and the previous season. That's solid numbers. Certainly, there's one guy that's doing better. I don't know who that is, but anyways, I'm satisfied with that, but I'm really looking forward to football season. For those of you who don't know, I cover every single game in week 0 and week 1 every year at Wager Talk TV. So if you're looking for any games in week 1 or week 0, you can go to the YouTube channel and you'll see me breaking them down for you.
Yeah, all 3 of us will be on Wager Talk TV with our solo videos. So make sure to watch those, folks. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because Wager Talk TV, I want to say the finest cast of handicappers you'll find anywhere in the world at one site. So again, Wager Talk TV, subscribe. It's 100% free to do so. We have over 256,000 subscribers, I believe, right now, which there's a good reason for that. And for those of you who have subscribed, we thank each and every one of you. Without you, the channel would not be a success, nor would we be. So hit that subscribe button and be sure to give this video here today a like. To show a like goes a long way in showing just a small token of appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality show each and every time we're going to appear here at Wager Talk TV. And again, folks, 12 years. Wager Talk just had their birthday, I believe, yesterday. And I'd like to thank and congratulate all the co-founders over at Wager Talk that I believe are still with us. And without you guys, we wouldn't be getting a check every month. And we certainly wouldn't be here talking to you. So 12 years, it should tell you longevity speaks volumes, and just getting better and better and better every year. All right. So let's get to, well, first of all, before we get to that, real quickly, my college football. Sean,
yes, keep selling me, Ross. I love it. I don't hype myself as much as Ross hypes me.
I don't know why.
When
I click on that, it goes to what I had. It goes to you every time. But in any event, we'll figure that out, because as Sean knows, I'm technologically challenged at times. That's why he's the producer. But in any event, college football over the last 3 seasons, folks, number 1 at Wager Talk, combined last 3 seasons of college football, 182 and 120 at 60.3%. It's plus 155.76 units. And out of the 3 years, last year was actually my best, as I went 53, 31, and 2, 63.1%, made a net profit of 75.99 units. And folks, last year with my college football 5% best bets, I went 13 and 3, 81%. You can get my entire college football premium package right through the national championship game at my personal link, wt.buzz/RB. It's $5.99. I'm going to hit you up with one more thing here, folks. We have a special with myself and fellow handicapper Ben Burns, combo package with Ben's NFL and my college football. Why should you entertain buying that? Because for an extra $300, you're not going to only get my college football season. You're going to get Ben's NFL as well. And Ben has been number 1 over the last 3 years combined in the NFL. Between the both of us, the last 3 years in the NFL with Ben, the last 3 years with Ross in college football, we've made over 300 units in net profit. Folks, if my math is correct, if you're betting $100 a unit, you made over $30,000 over the last 3 years with Ben's NFL and my college football. So again, $8.99 wagertalk.com. Take advantage of this offer as well. All right, so let's get back to talking college football free picks, and we're going to start with Mr. Higgs first.
All right. So for Saturday, listen, I was pretty hard on how I love my Stanford and Hawaii's here. I'm going to go Florida State. It's a huge number at 31. It's a huge number. But we talk hot seats earlier. We were talking about Dion a little bit. This guy is literally the meme of him sipping a drink of coffee, Norval, on the way out the door, right? No, you don't think Norval's on the hot seat, Jesse?
I think he's already fired. They're saving up their money so they can get rid of him.
They would have done that already, genius. Anyway,
no, they owe so much. I mean, they're still paying Jimbo Fisher, I think, these guys. Yeah. I mean, but listen, roll over New Mexico State. It'll be a little bit of happiness. This is the same team that somehow beat Alabama last year. And your life's on the line. You're going to do whatever you take for a huge win here. Again, am I going to play this game? No, I'm not laying 30. I don't like – that's not happening. I gave you a bunch of picks already that I've already bet on. But it's another game on the board here for you. And I think in a spot like that, you got to look to a coach and a team that has to reestablish itself as, you know what, we're not terrible. We are not off the map and off the football grid forever. So I'll say Florida State here, lay it.
Yeah, there you go. Florida State, lay the points. Sean, he says it's that high for a reason, and he makes his case. Jesse, home favorites of 36 and a half or more in their season openers are 21 and 3 against the spread since 2013. Let me say that again. Home favorites of 36 and a half or more in their season opener. 21 and 3 against the spread, 24 and 0 straight up, average victory margin by over 50 points per game. Now, I'm not trying to influence you because Jesse knows I'm the last one who likes to lay big points. But in any event, I thought I'd share that with you. Who do you have, Jesse, coming on Saturday?
One caveat to that. I agree with the trend you pointed out, Ross, but don't take Georgia because Kirby Smart doesn't cover those kind of spreads.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact numbers at hand, but they're not good.
So he's like 0-4 in those spots.
It's a betting system, not a trend. The trend applies to teams, folks. Betting systems apply to all teams in all situations. Anyway, go ahead, Jess.
Okay. We talked about Colorado already. I already was concerned about Colorado heading into the season, but those concerns have been magnified in recent days. I came across a CBS Sports article saying that at BetMGM Sportsbook, the second most bet season win total is the Colorado Buffaloes over 4.5. And their biggest liability for conference championships is Colorado to win the Big 12. I'll repeat that. Their regular season win total is 4.5, and Buffs fans are betting on them to win the Big 12. That is the epitome of an overrated team. Now, since then, the line against Georgia Tech has dropped from 7 to 6.5. There's also all sorts of negative news. Their defensive tackle, Ezra Christensen, was denied eligibility, so that's bad news. There's been a bunch of viral videos dropping recently about their strength and conditioning coach. Also, there's been some speculation about their lack of size, and I think that's prompted Dion to panic a little bit. He's locked down practice. Reporters are no longer allowed to bring their phones. Students are no longer allowed to bring their phones into practice. They're not even allowed to write on a notepad. I'm pretty skeptical of this Colorado team. I watched Brent Key's press conference this morning. Brent Key looks confident. I think I'm optimistic about Alberto Mendoza. And man, they got 2 studs at running back. I'm confident that this team will have a solid offensive line. I expect Georgia Tech to run it down Colorado's throat in their home opener. So give me Georgia Tech minus the 6.5. I think getting it under 7 is a bargain.
Yeah, Brent Key, a former offensive lineman himself. And since he's been at Georgia Tech, we saw the physicality. We've seen, I should say, the physicality of their offensive line. over the last couple of years. So Jesse makes a good point there. So Jesse's laying the points with Georgia Tech on Saturday and over the Colorado. That's a week from Saturday, correct, Jesse?
Yeah, that's a week 1 game.
It's a week 1 matchup on, I don't know, the 6th of September, I believe. Anyway.
5th, I think.
All right,
Oh, no.
I'm going to look at Jacksonville State. Go ahead.
It's a Friday game.
It's a Friday game. So the 5th of September. You know, they all blend in together when we work every day, folks. So don't mind us with dates. Anyway, Jacksonville State and North Dakota State for me on Saturday. And North Dakota State right now, they opened at 10. They're down to 6.5 or 7. And I think for good reason. Look, North Dakota State, the last 15 years at the FCS level, they've won 10 national championships. They got so good to the point where when FBS teams scheduled them, they either beat them or took them down to the wire. So in the last few years, you'll see no FBS school would schedule them. And usually it's in their season opener, and they didn't want to get off to a bad start. However, North Dakota State only returns 3 starters from a year ago. They brought in many Division II transfers to try to replenish the roster. I know they have a reputation for reloading. That all works at the FCS level, but when you're trying to do it, transitioning from an FCS program to an FBS program, it's a whole different story. Now, they certainly are going to be juiced up. Their first home game, season opener, and playing in their first FBS as officially an FBS team. However, that carries you so long. This is a Jacksonville State program, folks, very underrated. Their 4th year as an FBS team. They've won 9 games in each of the last 3 seasons. They played for the Conference USA title the last 2 years. They went 1-1 in those games. As a underdog of 7.5 points or less in their 3 years at the FBS level, they've gone 10-5 against the spread, and they won 9 of those 15 games straight up. Don't forget, this is the same Jacksonville State program that went on the road in their season opener last year to take on UCF of the Big 12 and gave them all they can handle as a 20.5-point dog. They fell short, but a 17-10 final score. They were in it throughout. So I'm going to take Jacksonville State here, guys. I'm going to take the points plus 7 against North Dakota State. You guys have any feel on that game itself that you would like to throw out?
Just an interesting storyline when you look at Jacksonville State, only 3 years in FBS and what they've been able to do. And then you ask yourself, what's it going to be like, the transition for North Dakota State? You know, you can kind of look at Jacksonville State's success, and it might be difficult to project as much success in a tougher league. I don't have a ton of respect for the Conference USA. Sorry, Conference USA fans.
Yeah, and that's understandable. But, you know, again, you've got an FBS program, and Sean, you know, it's a first-year head coach. And North Dakota State got the okay, and I believe they got the okay to be an FBS program after the transfer portal kicked in. So I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I know one of the schools definitely that applied to. I believe it's North Dakota State, but it's a new coaching staff, and they're going up in competition, and they've lost a lot of players from a season ago. So, any thoughts?
I'm with you. I'm on Jacksonville State. I bet them already, so I'm with you on that. And that was my same thinking on that. Listen, you dominated the subdivision. This is new. Now, again, like Jess said, it's Conference USA, but it's still guys who are been in this for 3 years. They've recruited bigger players now, or however you want to think, from the small one, baby brother to big brother. Well, it's going to be a long season. I can't believe these guys have a 9.5 win total.
Yeah, well,
like,
they
people
won 9
are
games
thinking
in
it's the
each of the
same
last 3 seasons. So
it's one thing. It's one thing in week 1, you're going to play a big school and you're like, we're all pumped up and you're getting 10, 12 points or something versus a Power 5. And you're like, you know what? Everybody's going to be balls to the wall going. All right, now this is a regular game. This is not something special. There's no extra juice to this game.
Disrespected, in my opinion, as an underdog in this, with all things being considered. And I take that back. It was Sacramento State who got invited to the MAC after the transfer portal. not North Dakota State. So before you jump all over my behind, I corrected it. Anyway, there you have it. Our first show, the Winner's Circle, folks. We'll be back every week. On Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to be recording. The show will go out on Thursday and Friday morning. Correct, Jesse?
Thursday for college and Friday for NFL.
All right. There you have it, folks. Next week, we'll be back with week 1 college football show. And then our NFL shows will begin the Thursday prior to, or the Friday prior to week 1 in the NFL, which is a couple weeks away. So until the next time, for Wager Talk TV, for Jesse Schule, Sean Higgs, Ross the Boss Benjamin, thank you for watching, folks. Don't forget to give us a like. And don't forget to subscribe to Wager Talk TV. Take care and God bless.